Morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community, Oceania Hundoke. And today we have Anshil together with Reverend Abel Nakal, and it is Wednesday, the 16th of February or the 16th of January in the 10th year of Chongyilguk. So let's begin by offering a bow to our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. Kyombe. Haro. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English. Thank you.
가전맨세 2. 전일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 충신, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 선자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 2. Our family, the owner of Chongyilguk, pledges to represent and become central to heaven and earth by attending the Heavenly Parent and True Parents. We pledge to perfect the dutiful family way of filial sons and daughters in our family, patriots in our nation, saints in the world, and divine sons and daughters in heaven and on earth by centering on true love. Thank you. I'd like to ask Chris Bruce if you could offer the opening prayer, please.
Good morning, Heavenly Parents and True Parents. Once again, Heavenly Father, we invite you to be with us this morning as we are gathered here to really help to bring a spiritual foundation to take us forward. We are really trying to renew ourselves and to understand what it takes to bring results in this nation and the region. Heavenly Parents, we really have many things to pray for, and we're hoping that we can see our region come together as one body to protect itself against secular forces and really be able to accept the directions from you through our True Parents, through True Mother. We pray that all the people involved, all the leaders involved in what we're doing can be really, truly reborn and go beyond their political thinking and really understand that this way is the only way to bring world peace. So we're seeing so many results now and so grateful for everything that's happening. Thank you now in the name of Chris and Debbie Bruce and his family. Arjun.
Arjun. Thank you. And today we have Reverend Abel Nakal, and let's give him a warm welcome. Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Hundoke. I think I'm using my phone, so I would like to ask Uncle John to set a link. Yeah, as we have just finished the World Summit, and my topic for this morning just to reflect on that and try to pick up some points from True Father's autobiography to just emphasize on some important point there. Yeah. So next slide. Yeah, this is from Peace Global Loving Global Citizens. Yeah. As studying spring rain fell all last night, ending a winter drought, it was so nice to have had the rain that I spent all the morning walking about in the garden. The ground had that fragrant aroma of moss aid, and I had missed all the winter, and the weeping willow of cherry trees were showing signs of new spring birds. I feel I could hear the bobbing sounds of new life sprouting here and there around the garden. Before picking up young wood sorts that had managed to poke heads out through the dry land. The night rain had turned the whole world into a fragrant spring garden. Yeah, this as we have just finished from the summit, it's coming to season that we can really unite and work in face of them with God and our beloved true mother, as is in the front line. This season is coming for us to really reflect on that and really move forward for God's providence. Next slide, please. No matter how much commotion there may be in the world, when the calendar turns to March, spring is on its way. The older I become, the more it means to me that in nature, spring follows winter and spring with the flowers in full bloom. What am I that caught in each season allows the flower to bloom and the snow to fall, so I might know the joy of being alive. Love wells up from with the deepest necessary of my heart, and I am overcome with emotion. I move to tears so to think that everything of Refill's values has been given to me freely. In my life, I have circled a global many times over in my effort to bring about a peaceful world. Yeah, this, as we know, every time we have to think that also the nature also brings us hope. As we know very well, our beloved true father, he invests all his life he invests, and we have to really connect us in this era we're living in, as true mother is really working very hard. We have also to connect with our beloved true father, even in the spiritual world. We have to unite in spirit and in mind, spirit and physically with true mother to really move forward as the spring is coming. So we have to really unite with true mother and true father. Yeah, next. God created Adam and Eve and sent them into this world to be fruitful, to multiply, to bring about a world of peace where they would live, but could not wait for God's time. The children who were born from the fall did not trust each other and brought about an incident where one brother murdered the other. The beast of this world was sudden, since covered in the world, and God's sorrowed heart. So as true father came into this world as the third Adam, and he was really investing to bring about world of peace, and through all his words, that's why we are in the stage that we can really connect with him. So it is really important that we have to know and think very deep on that and reflect on what our true Father is investing his life for faith centered on God, and then we can come back to our original states. Next. True Father says for truth, suddenly it was if someone had turned on a movie projector. Everything that had happened since the time humankind broke God's commandment played out clearly before my eyes. Hot tears flows continuously from my eyes. I fell to my knees and bowed my head to the floor. For the longest time, I could get up just as when my father had carried me home on his back as a child. I laid my body down in the God's lap and let the tears flow. 9 years after my encounter with Jesus, my eyes had finally opened to the truth of God. Yeah, as we know how our mission starts, how true Father invests his life of faith and connected with God. So yeah, true Father really invests his entire life on God's providence. As now we coming to the final stage, as our true Mother is leading this new era. But as for me, we have to always reflect on our true Father for the foundation that he have laid, and that's why we are living in this era, that God-centered era, that's with our beloved true Mother. Yeah, next. My personal life was such that I had to know about everything that I could see. I could just pass over something specifically. I would start making things. I wonder that the name of my mountain is. I wonder what's up there. I had to go and see for myself. While still a child, I climbed to the top of the mountains that were in a 5 miles radius of our home. I went everywhere, even beyond the mountain. That way, when I saw a mountain shining in the morning sunlight, I could have an image in my mind of what was on that mountain, and I could gaze at it in the comfort. I had it even to look at place I don't know. I had to know about everything I could see and even what was beyond. Otherwise, my mind was so restless that I couldn't endure. Next. True Father says for truth, suddenly it was if someone had next. When I went to the mountain, I would touch all the flowers and trees. I wasn't satisfied just to look at things with my eyes. I had to touch the flower and smell them, even put them in my mouth and chew on them. I enjoyed the fragrance, the touch, and the taste so much, and I would have minded if someone had told me to stick my nose into the grass and keep it there for the whole day. I love nature so much that anything I went out I would spend the day roaming the hills and fields and forget about having to go home when my elder sisters would go into the hills to gather wild vegetables. I would lead the way up the hills and pick the plants. Yeah, so as we can see that how true father is really investing, and even he have to find the real situation on nature. He really connects with the nature, and how to connect with God, we have to connect with the nature. Next. From when I was a child, I had a certain peculiarity. I could know that things that others did, as it was some natural paranormal abilities. If I said it was going to rain, then it would rain. I might be sitting in our home and say, the old man, Mr. So and so in the next village doesn't feel well today, and it would always be right. From the time I was 8, I was well known as a champion matchmaker. I only had to see photograph of an prospective bride and groom, and I could tell everything. If I said this marriage is bad, and they went ahead and married anyway, they would inevitably break up later. I've been doing this until I turned 90s, and now I can tell much about a person just seeing the seeing the views of he sits at the way he loves. Yeah, this is how father is really connected with God. So in this experience, as most of us understand, how he matches us into blessing, and when we receive blessing, when there's like many experience where how you receive direct blessing from true father, and when this kind of matching, when we can see out on that on our many of our uncle and aunties, they're matching, and their families are really settled, centered on God, because this is how true father matched. When he was just 8, he became this master matchmaker. So it's really an interesting point. Yeah. Next. The wall of peace that is God's desire is not some place we go to after death. God wants this world where we live in now to be the complete, peaceful, and happy world that He created in the beginning. God certainly did not send Adam and Eve into the world for them to suffer. I had to let the world know this incredible truth, have discover the secret of the creation of the universe. I felt my heart became like a calm ocean. My heart was filled with the word of God. It feels as though it may explode, and my face was always shining with joy. Next. World Summit 2022. In the name of our true mother, the only begotten daughter, I restore 7 nations, and on that foundation 7 religions, others then restored as a continent within 7 years period to beginning in 2013. It was from this position that I finally proclaimed the first establishment of Channel Cook. Channel Cook is the nations where all people have of heaven and earth live as one family, the nation for which heaven and all people have so long. Unthinkable natural disasters and catastrophes are cribbing the world today. These natural catastrophes caused by human ignorance are leading to the loss of many lives throughout the world. Next. This is the final slides, I think. Now the unification of Korean Peninsula will be achieved. The cultures of the heavenly Pacific civilization, which starts on the Korean Peninsula, is actively spreading via the Asian continents all throughout the world. Unlike the era of Atlantic civilizations in the past, righteous people, those in religious, secular, and many other God's people in the world are participating in the true love of true family movement, in the independence, mutual prosperity, and universal values. I once again raise my hope for these people. Thank you.
Thank you, Abel. Thank you, everyone. Today, because yesterday we had the breakout session, so today is a general sharing. So thank you, Abel, for sharing that about Father's incredible love of nature and Father's real, seeing God, feeling alive when he traveled through the hills and really experienced the heart of God and felt that determination, to bring everyone back, to save his children and to bring everyone back to God. Yesterday we also heard from Reverend Utaka and about actually I was a bit surprised that Abel's thing was a bit short, shorter than usual, and we have a lot of time to share. Yesterday we were in a breakout session, so people were sharing together their experiences. So I'm open to other people to share things yesterday or any inspiration that they received from Abel. I'm always impressed by how much Father in those passages is really has that connection with nature, and just a few times I used to do a lot of bushwalking when I was younger, and having that connection with nature and feeling that being embraced by nature. When I was young, I used to see rolling hills, and I would go onto the hills and roll down them, and I would always be disappointed because I expected them to be soft, but they're always hard, and I'd get up and I'd be scratched all over because it wasn't what I expected. I always had this feeling when I was younger that nature should embrace me, not resist me, and but then later I reflected on that Bible quote, that nature is groaning for the emergence of the children of God. And then I realized, okay, we haven't emerged yet to be embraced by nature. And when we do emerge as children of God, then our relationship with nature will be very different. There would be that embrace. And then later, when I was older and blessed and went into nature, I had that experiences of really having nature sort of communicate back to me, and really wanting us to look after the world. So I don't know, maybe some people remember, maybe I mentioned this a number of times, but maybe others have. When I was I had this experience of talking to a queen ant when I was in high school. We had stopped for lunch, and near the school which I went to was Cleveland Street Boys High School, which is near the Peace Embassy. And I came out to have lunch, and I was standing next to the wall, which was next to the roadside. And I was watching this ants, just foraging for food and watching their trail and going into the ground. And I had this experience, whether it was a waking dream or however you want to. It was like those movies that people shrink to the size of the ant and they go with it. Well, I had this experience. I was eating lunches during lunchtime at school, and I had this experience where I shrank down to the size of an ant, and I followed this ant into the path where everyone was going, and they were sort of touching me with their feelers and pushing me along. And the next thing, I found myself, because all the ants were coming in and storing food, but also offering some of the food to the queen ant. And I got to the queen ant, and the queen ant looked at me, and then I had this sensation and feeling that the ant was talking to me, saying, look, we're really upset with humanity. We really want you to go tell people to look after this world and to really take responsibility for it. And I was sort of blown away by this experience. And it was, I still remember it today, this intense sadness that the ant had, that people weren't loving the world, that the whole world was one organism, and we were just vital parts to this organism. And if we didn't work together, then everything would suffer together. And so after that experience, I sort of walked back out and became full size again, and the bell went to indicate the end of lunch, and I went back to class, and I was just couldn't focus on any of the lessons, and I just basically thought about that experience I had, and thinking, was that a dream or did it really happen? And why? Because I never thought in that way at all. That was the first time, and then that really stimulated a whole way of how can we connect to looking after the planet. So that was just an interesting experience when I think about, when Father talks about his relationship. I think about that, and there's others I've had, but already a whole bunch of people have put up their hands. So I'll pass it on to so the first one that's got their hand up is Jacinta. So go ahead.
Okay. I thought that was a really nice service this morning, Abel. Thank you so much. And it wasn't too short for me. And yeah, I really appreciate it. I just love hearing about Father's youth, and yeah, his character is so fascinating. And I do think it is amazing that some people have this connection with nature. And I think I do too, but not so extremely. But one of the things I read about in the 70s was in this book called Supernature. This scientist was trying to find evidence for the fact that nature has a soul and has an awareness. And now they refer to it as Gaia, you know, the kind of feminine spirit of the whole world. And I'm sure that it's connected to angels and all the different levels of angels, but I don't know all the details, and there's too much information there that's very distracting from our mission, unfortunately. But I really, I'm looking forward to, you know, developing more feeling and yeah, those senses that you've been talking about, so that I can, yeah, I mean, I just want to be able to multiply the goodness that's there in the planet. That, you know, the planet wants to be better. The planet wants to make everything more balanced. So we just have to get in sync with it. Anyway, just saying that's what I love about what Abel was talking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacinta. We've got actually 3 people just to say who they are. There's Na, then Doug, and then Kim. But so first, Na, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, thank you, Abel, for your message this morning. I was just thinking how amazing with John's experience with the ants talking to him. It's amazing how God, well, works through different forms, speak to us through different forms, you know. It may not be the ant, but it could have been the spirit world or some ancestors or spirit. Yeah, because I was reading Resurrection, you know, the chapter on resurrection this morning. Yeah, how the spirit world, you know, speaks to us or work directly with us or through indirectly. And reminded me of, actually, when I joined the church, I reflected on my childhood, and it made me think of an experience I had. Maybe I was 5 or 6 years old, and I went our little rooms in the islands at that time, not now. At that time, we're in the sea, so it's a little house built on the sea, so you go there. And I went in and opened the door, and there was an older lady sitting with a smile, and I didn't expect that, and I knew that she wasn't a physical person, and I just somehow automatically thought she was my grandmother, or great-grandmother, and to this day as well, I always remember that experience. So the point is that this, as children, we are taught through by the spirit world. As children, you know, our experiences, they are ways that God has taught us or nurture us through good spirits or good ancestors. And so I feel like even with our grandchildren, if we are not able to be with them physically, that that our good ancestors can actually guide them as they have guided us. Yeah, that's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Na. Okay, Doug, your turn. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, we're in the third year of True Mother's 7-year course from 2020 to 2027. And this year in particular, being a completion year, we're really seeing winter become spring. So much so that True Mother has confidently moved the February God's Day event to April, to Easter Saturday, on the weekend of Resurrection. So that just supremely reinforces her confidence, and the idea of spring is here and it's now, you know. In the midst of February and April comes a month that is very unique in Korean history, and it's March 1st. The March 1st independence movement of 1919 is a period of rising, like coming into bloom, you know, the heart of the Korean people at a time of repression. And when you think of the importance of those 40 days from March 1st to April 9th, how much it means to the Korean people and to the unification of North and South Korea. And then you think of how this Think Tank 22 conference has come about. Our conference ended basically on Valentine's Day, which is just an expression of love in itself, you know, and it brings to the mind the heart and love, you know. And then with the reality comes along. By the February 20th, the real condition of the world comes to mind now. What to do about it. So the Chinese Communist Party Olympics end on February 20th. And the one person who spoke most directly to the current situation and reality of the world in the Think Tank 22 was Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. I felt his talk was like, we have an expression in America, when the bases are loaded and someone gets up and hits a home run, it's home run, bases loaded. He brought in all the necessary facts in his speech. And he didn't hold back. Even he said, the Chinese Communist Party may not be too happy with what I have just said. But in saying that is the discussion, you know, it comes out. And he also addressed the issue of protest, which is relevant to the March 1st movement. Some people have this silly idea that protest is not correct or not right and so forth. But from Gandhi's time and Martin Luther King's time, protest is the significant way of being able to change, you know? And we can't ignore the fact, especially after Mike Pompeo has spoken, that the protests are rising in the world, and they're popping up like mushrooms. They're not going away, and they're not going to peter out. Not at all. This is where the 2.8 million people are being mobilized from. Yesterday, in just one program, the police came to arrest a couple of hundred people, and they all joined arm in arm, and they recited the Our Father together, and then they sang holy songs. So we have right now a revelation happening right in front of us of how corrupt government is and how they're controlled and been bred and groomed to work on not God's side, but the wrong side. Trudeau, Biden, and Morrison, all with different political backgrounds, have uniformly stood against the rise of people in peaceful protest. While we were having our Think Tank 2022, and by the way, I missed the celebrations yesterday because we had a wonderful guest from the Australian military here. And we just had a great day talk for a little bit under 3 hours. But yesterday, just to go back on Saturday, while we were witnessing amazing talks at Think Tank 2022, there was over 1 million people. Some people say up to 2 million people that all walked to the Canberra capital of Australia. It was absolutely amazing. It was very peaceful. Men, women, and children from every race, every religion, every background. There's no coverage in the newspapers because we're censored. We're absolutely censored. This should be a major point of discussion. And the only one who really mentioned that, who had the insights and the courage and the wisdom to make note of that, was Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. While they were there, at one corner of it, something happened that was terrible. Not the protesters. They were just men, women, and children. But the Australian government is so panicked, and without actively concerning the people in their leadership, they turned sonic weapons on the crowd for no reason whatsoever. This has only been done in Cuba, in China, against crowds, and in Nepal at the border with India, where the Chinese used sonic weapons to remove Indian troops about a year and a half ago. But to turn them on a peaceful protest is just the wake up that's going to make these protests get more and more prolific. And that's where March comes in of this year. So I saw a post that was very, very interesting. They're coming down with everything that they can to close down the Canadian trucker protest. And there's a large amount of support for the people. They're out absolutely lying, and they're being revealed for their lies so much. But I saw something that was probably a good idea and the beginning of what we're going to see in accordance with Gandhi and Martin Luther King's thinking. One trucker just said, we will not leave. We cannot take this. We've done everything that we can to take care of all the residents, make sure they get their food where we're there. We are not going to disappear, because if we disappear, that's the end. That's it. We are facing a slow step-by-step takeover into corporatism, communism. You know, we cannot allow this kind of draconian control, and they will take away everything that they have systematically through the social credit systems and the application of rewarding us according to meeting their dictates. So the man said, he says, I'm calling for and asking all Canadians to support this by having 1 week no work. Starting on, as I said, the Chinese Olympics are over on the 20th, but on the 21st, he said on the 21st for 1 week, we don't shop, we don't go, we call in, we refuse to go to work, we tell them we have a sore ankle or we're just stressed out. This is a no work thing for the Canadians. This idea will probably go throughout the world faster than you can imagine. We're not dropping out, we're rising up. The people, in complement to the Think Tank 2022, it has to change by bringing together the grassroots with the top most motivated leaders to make an improved world. One cannot do it without the other. We absolutely need both, you know? So this is where the scholars must meet the common man of humankind. And now is the moment. We need to be aware of what's happening. We need to find the video footage of exactly what I'm talking about. And we need to just turn off the mainstream news and get some real facts and information on our tables, in our kitchen, and speak to our neighbors. Because this is the rise of the common man that King Sejong 500 years ago did everything possible to enable by teaching them how to write. This is God's will. Why did Gutenberg create the printing press? Because it was God's will. It was done at the same time in both the East and the West that humankind has been liberated on a large level. Then came democracy. If we don't take this time and this moment, we will lose what we have, and we will deserve to lose what we have. And then the future generations will have to pick up the slack. We can't lose the good foundations that we have. We must honor Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and true parents for a rightful understanding of how they feel toward these things. Protest is not an evil. Protest is appropriate when it's carried out lovingly and responsibly. Those people who held arms and recited the Our Father and sang hymns, this is happening all over these protests, all over the world. 1 to 2 million people were in Canberra yesterday, and no coverage, no one's talking about it. This is a war. This is where the 2.8 billion people are. This is where the prayers are being made, So I just wanted to say that next week on the 21st is an opportunity for you to support these protests, for us to support. And it's not dropping out, it's rising up. Stay home and pray. Don't go to work. Don't participate. Do nothing except for pray to God and connect with God Almighty and true parents, and tell people about true parents. But that's what I was thinking. So I wanted to share it. Thank you for the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you. Go ahead, Kim.
I just wanted to comment about yesterday's victory celebration. Mother looked so happy. It's usually so serious, but she was really smiling, and I just can't imagine when what was going on in the background to that event. We're able to sit at home and watch, and everything unfolded beautifully and smoothly, and such a high level of people that came, and they were all so complimentary, some different viewpoints on this situation over the days of many presentations, and then the final events. But still, everyone very harmonious and wanting to work together. But the work behind, I just can't imagine the stress in having to get the people there through all the bureaucracy, through all the, having high-level people staying in quarantine. I think Michael Jenkins said it was like in a prison or something, it wasn't exactly luxury hotels that these high-level people were staying in, apparently. So just amazing. And for Mike Pompeo to arrive with a broken leg or something wrong with his leg, I think that was incredible. But to see from different viewpoints is quite amazing too. Ban Ki-moon especially emphasizing about climate change and the challenges that brings, and also Samdech Hun Sen really talking about a win-win situation. That's really the key, isn't it? That nobody is, it's not us against them, it's both sides have to come out the winners. So, and that type of approach, the United States, I recall, was quite remiss because of its such strong view against communism after Vietnam actually went in and into Cambodia and took Cambodia and pushed the Khmer Rouge, a terrible regime, out. But America for many years did not recognize, still recognized the Khmer Rouge in the UN as the legitimate government, which was purely because of their stubbornness and their Cold War mentality. So, but anyway, Samdech, has some limitations, of course, and but but still, there's been able to forge a place where people can grow. He's accepted True Mother. Many of us are recipients of being able to bless so many people in Cambodia because of his win-win philosophy. So he's going now. They mentioned that he's going to meet Biden as the chairman of ASEAN, and they'll have high-level talks. So, so anyway, there's just so much hope that you know, the left and right can come together in a headwing approach, and really there's so much hope at this time. But once again, I just so amazing, you know, all the brothers and sisters, the leaders that have worked to pull that together. It's just amazing. So thank you all the leaders there who've worked so hard throughout Oceania as well.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. It's so true. Yeah, it was an amazing miracle. Go ahead, Jeff. You got your hand up.
Yeah, that was yeah, just sort of in line with what Kim was saying. Really, just the way Mother, just a real mother, the way she really thanked brothers and sisters for their incredible effort, giving gifts, and yeah, I felt somehow I just felt that you know, of course, those who are on the real front line. Obviously, the way Dr. Yun mentioned how difficult it was, you know, to make this happen, and such an incredible person, you know, that God has prepared to support True Mother in this position he's in, and yeah, how just you know, I just felt that somehow even I felt that they were Mother was giving the gifts to us as well, you know, for all our small efforts that we made in our areas. So really the work of Mother to really encourage the children. Father's sort of set up all the framework as a father, and, you know, just going out ahead and said all these things that Father's done. And now Mother's really bringing us all together as the children, you know, to do this work, and just recognizing everybody. So moved that Kathy Rigney, who got something from Mother, just saying my daughter, yeah, I don't know, I just felt just such a Mother's embrace of everybody, you know, through those who represented us at this event. Yeah, there's so much in store for us as we expand this movement, you know, in our nations. And as you said, Kim, really that it has to be like a peaceful revolution. So these governments are on the back foot, you know, they're realizing their limitations and perhaps hopefully realizing some of the wrong things the way they've done. We have Jacinda Ardern, same thing in New Zealand. There are thousands of people down in Wellington at the moment, good salt of the earth people, you know, that are pushing back on some of the things that the government has done. I mean, they're being accused of being anti-vaxxers, but basically it's about a lot of the laws that the government is trying to push on people without proper consultation and consideration, you know, of many good people. So yeah, anyway, peaceful revolution, and everybody has to win. And yeah, so anyway, yeah, so many things anyway. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everyone. It's that time now for us to offer our unison prayer. So I'll just share the screen. All right, let's pray together. Jew, Jew, Jew. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Abel. Thank you, and have a great day tomorrow, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Abel, today so much.
Yeah, thank you, Abel.
Yes, and thank you, everyone. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.